Hello and welcome back to Second Take Movies, a podcast where we give movies a second look, a second chance, second take, if you will. I'm your host, Preston Jenkinson, and joining me for the second week in a row, we're finishing Blade with Blade Trinity. It's Larry Parks.
What up, man? What up? You know,
Yeah.
the torture is finally over. The torture that Preston has forced me to go through with him is.
I thought X-Men Apocalypse was going to be torture, but this is on a different level. At least we don't ever have to watch this movie again.
You know what? I will be okay. Never. And you know the funny thing about it, I was talking to my friends and I was telling them that like earlier this week I was like, oh man, I got to watch Blade Trinity. And one of my friends was like, oh, that's the good one, ain't it? And I was like, no. He was like, that's the one with Ryan Reynolds, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I like that one. And I was like, huh. Surprise, surprise. You know?
But watch out for your opinion from in the future.
Which is crazy because this is the highest grossing Blade film out of all three of them.
Yeah, like they were like very popular at the time, and they were coming off a big push from Blade 2, but oh boy, did it fail.
Yeah, I mean, you put Ryan Anderson, Jessica Biel, Wesley Snipes, what other big names you had in this?
Patton Oswalt as well.
Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you put a bunch of big names in, and they're like, "Oh, this is gonna be action."
They swing for the fences.
Yeah, and then you got here, and you were like, "Oh,
no."
Okay, bet.
We learned Triple H is not an actor, at least.
You know what? Which is funny because they were so impressed with Triple H's work ethic and everything that actually he had a smaller role in this movie. But they were so impressed with his work ethic and like how he showed up to the set and like everything he brought to him that they forced more lines for him to give his character more value.
Really?
Yeah, like he didn't have that many lines. Like what he had, they created for him.
And from what I've heard about, it must be something with wrestling because I've heard the same thing about The Rock. Like, there was a stunt guy. I don't know if you've ever watched the YouTube channel Corridor Crew, which gets mentioned on this show a lot. But they're the guys that react to like CGI and stunts and stuff. And they had a guy that had worked with him on Hobbs and Shaw. Mm-hmm. And he was going to take The Rock through like, the stunt work for that day. And it has to go from here. And he said The Rock came in and was like, oh, okay, so I go here and then we're going to go through here and then I'm out. And he's like, he already knew the scene, like from like front to back. He's like, I used to plan for like hour-long shows for 200 days a year. This is
the older you get and you watch your favorite wrestlers when you were young, watching your favorite wrestlers go from the ring to the TV screen, and the older you get, you realize like wrestling really was like very fake.
It's theater.
They did a good job entertaining us.
Yeah, I mean, they put in a lot of work. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
yeah.
As like fake as it is, and dramatized as it is, it's they put in a lot of work to do what they do.
Yeah, I'm always entertained about how they decide who's going to be the bad guy, and okay, this is where you switch from being the bad guy of WWE to being the good guy now. Oh, you know what? Right. We're about to make you the champion.
Yeah. So let's quit avoiding the subject and get into Blade Trinity. The story: Blade, now a wanted man by the FBI, must join forces with the Night Stalkers to face his most challenging enemy yet, Dracula.
A.K.A. Drake.
Yeah.
They tried to make him sound so cool.
Hollywood Reporter Frank Sheck from the Hollywood Reporter. This is the positive review. Should reasonably please fans of the genre before assuming its place in the horror section of your local video store. And you can guess what year and decade he wrote that review in. Yeah. Stephen Hunter of the Washington Post. This is a negative review. The movie is loud, dark, bumpy, and even a little fun. You emerge into daylight, bruised and battered, suffering a case of movie abuse.
Sounds like a fun kidnapping.
It does sound like that.
That's what it just made it sound like. Yeah, you get abused, you get beat up, you get thrown around, but you come out having a good time.
But that's
Yeah,
the first note I have. Like, of course, it's Dracula. I mean, that's the only place. That's the only other place you could take a vampire story. Through
yeah.
this franchise is Dracula.
And I mean, everybody knows, if you watch Blade Trinity, paid attention, we all know the stories of the drama that was placed on the film and everything that happened. Like, somebody asked Ryan Reynolds, I was like, how was it working with Wesley Snipes? And Ryan Reynolds said, I've never worked with Wesley Snipes a day in my life. I've worked with Blade though.
Yeah, that was a thing on set. Like, they said that he would spend hours in his trailer just smoking weed, and he would send notes to the director and sign them as Blade.
Blade. Refer to me as Blade. I am not Wesley Snipes. Refer to me as Blade.
Like, he just showed up for like the talking scenes that he needed to be in. Like, there's a shot where Ryan Reynolds is explaining what's going on and explaining Dracula to Blade, and it's like Ryan Reynolds just staring dead at the camera. And that was because Wesley Snipes would not show up the set that day, and they had to shoot something.
Yeah, they were like, they had to replace it with doubles or like do some type of CGI. The director of this film, I forget his name.
David S. Goyer.
Yes. He said that this may have been one of his most difficult and frustrating films to direct in his life.
Yeah, I can see that.
But to Wesley Snipes' defense, it was Wesley Snipes and another actor, longtime actor. I think Whistler. Yeah, I think both of them.
Christopherson.
Yes, both of them were highly upset with the direction of this movie because they felt like Blade, and I understood what they were saying. They were like, from Blade 1 to Blade 2, they felt like they were bringing in too many characters into like this new universe. And it was like, Blade doesn't need sidekicks. Like, Blade is good just being with Blade and Whistler. Like, he did it in Blade 1. He did it in Blade 2. Like, he's not a team player. Like, he's let me do this, and Whistler, you help me out a little bit, but I'm a solo guy. They didn't like that. They didn't like all the Night Stalker talk and all the Night Stalker teamwork and everything. So I understood it. So from there, that's just when everything went downhill.
Yeah. Yes, like vampires covered head to toe in, like, I guess, sun protection gear, because they're covered in like military uniforms, and one of them gives the finger to the sun, which, okay. And then they walk up into this temple, and it's Parker Posey, Triple H, and two other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And we can tell they're looking for something, and then they found a spot in the floor, and it collapses beneath them, and it's Dracula.
Out comes Dracula, killing somebody.
Yeah. Okay.
And then boom, start the movie.
Yeah. Start the movie, and then we go to Blade, who's doing what he usually does at the beginning of a Blade movie. He's hunting down vampires, or who he thinks are vampires. Which
at this point, it was hard for me to watch this movie start off the same way, because at this point I'm like, Blade is actually like a genocidal maniac. Like, Blade, like, he just wants to kill all vampires. You know? Just imagine Twilight and Edward and his friends are out there playing baseball, and here comes Blade murdering them down while they try to play baseball out there.
Well, there's actually a meme of how Twilight should have ended, and it's like Robert Pattinson sitting down, and it's like Blade in the background over here. Somebody photoshopped Wesley Snipes into the background.
Yeah, it's like Blade. Like, can it not be any good vampires out there? Like, you just, like, how about kill all the bad ones? Like, you just killing everybody.
He wants to kill all of them.
It's like, this is troublesome.
To be fair, all the vampires we're introduced to in these movies are like really psycho and evil for some reason.
They are. Yeah. I mean, they got to keep the story going, right?
Yeah. And then he chases a couple of them down, and he shoots a human, which I feel like he's killed 700 dudes at this point. Well, he even says he's killed over 1,000 humans at this point. And I'm like, what? I mean, other than it's on
the national
camera,
news.
like I would feel like people saw him. He was shooting in broad daylight in the first movie.
Exactly. I was just thought when I was watching, I was like, "What did Blade shooting in broad daylight? Like, this is where y'all catch him?"
He shot at cops in broad daylight in the very first movie.
Right. This is where y'all catch him. He beat up cops in the hospital. Like this. Yeah. This is where y'all like. Oh, we finally Blade. Who's this guy?
Yeah. Well, apparently they know who he is. Because at the FBI, they're like, we got him. Like, have y'all been looking for him? Y'all just set this up.
We've been searching for him for so long. He's been killing people, but we can't find any remains of the people he's been killing. I don't know why we're searching for Blade.
Yeah. Okay. And I can't even remember what happens.
He kills the guy. And then
he kills the guy, and the guy pulls out fake teeth, and Parker Posey got footage of it, and I guess she sent it to the FBI.
Because they knew this is where it was going to go down.
Yeah. Blade goes back to Whistler, and we have our, usual, like, here's your new thing for this movie. And he hands him like an inhaler instead of a serum that he injects into his arm. He's like, oh, some friends made it. All right.
And they just keep trying to hint at that these new people are coming.
If I'm and Blade is jokingly like, what friends? And I'm like, yeah, what friends? Because y'all seem like y'all spend like 24/7 together.
Right. Like, who do you know that I don't?
Maybe we could use some help. Maybe. Just saying.
And the people that we do know that I don't know usually try to kill us.
Yeah. So FBI finds out where they're at. They're on the river. This is probably worse than their hideout from the first movie where they're in a train yard and it's just open to everybody.
This had to have been the worst hiding spot they had. The worst.
Because it's just like in a harbor in like an open
area.
Boat slip. FBI comes through. Blade kills some of them, I think. Somehow.
I don't think Blade killed anybody, but Whistler definitely didn't feel Whistler did not want to live. Whistler had
I ain't going back.
One plan only. Like Whistler was like, Blade, good job. You got the public attention on us. We need to lay it low. Then he started shooting shotgun shells at the FBI. He just thought like Whistler. Thought that was laying low.
They're playing a PR scam on us.
I said, man.
Yeah, then as soon as the FBI rocks up, he's just like, shotgun, let's go.
Shotgun, I'm gonna shoot all y'all and blow y'all up.
All these fellas away. I ain't going back.
Going back where, Whistler?
I feel like he's been to prison at some point. I don't.
Yeah, he's had that been.
He's got that look. FBI comes in and Whistler starts, erasing all the hard drives. And then he sets off an explosion, kills a bunch of FBI guys. So they do have Blade on something. But somehow they incapacitate Blade. Like, Blade's got all these superpowers and stuff, and like a group of humans, they just tase him.
Right. So I wrote this down. I was like, we finally found out Blade's number 2 weakness. One, his first weakness is public display.
Yes.
Oh no, they know who I am. Weakness number 1. And then the weakness number 2 is just humans. Like you can sit there in a room full of vampires and like kill them all, but give me a room full of humans, it's like, I can't fight you guys. Blade, you got powers, bro.
Right. So he wakes up in he's at, I guess it's the FBI building. Mm-hmm. He's being interviewed by 2 guys, and in walks an actor who's been in a bunch of stuff. I can't call his name right now, but
yeah, I can't think of him either.
If I showed you a picture of him, you'd know who I'm talking about.
Like Dr. Oz or somebody.
Yeah, he was like, they had like a scene before this where this guy was like a psychiatrist who was talking to like a Charlie Rose type guy about Blade, because apparently the public knows all about Blade now.
Yeah.
And so we find out through this conversation, he's a familiar. He's got a tattoo on his wrist. And somehow he knows how to sedate Blade. Like, he gives him something.
Can we? Let's go back right quick. We're gonna backtrack to the very beginning, because I'm glad you just said that, because you said somehow he knows how to sedate Blade. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, when Blade's running through and like killing everybody, like all the other vampires. At this point, we're at Blade. We're at Blade Trinity. Blade's been terrorizing vampires for a very long time. Like, y'all at this point don't have some type of like preventive measures to like, you know, destroy him. Like, we put this booby trap on the car, or we got these bombs. Like, they're still shooting like regular bullets at him and trying to like punch him in the face.
Yeah. Well, I guess nobody really believes in vampires, but somehow Blade can do the stuff that he does. You'd think they'd try something extra.
Right. I was like, I actually enjoyed more so the story of the blood pact. Like, hey, we at least took 2 years to try to train certain people for it, but at this point, they're like, yeah, we're not even trying,
Yeah, and somehow the vampires in these movies just always find like a new temple high rise building because Blade just has destroyed the last two. Yeah. Basically, somehow they keep building it back. It seems like it's not working, Blade.
It'll never find us here.
And halfway through this interrogation, in through the group from the beginning of the movie comes in dressed as EMTs.
Yeah.
It's Triple H, Parker Posey, and some other people. And then they come in and talk to Blade and say, "Oh, you're coming with us because I guess we're finally going to kill you." I mean, I don't know why you don't just do it right there, but
Yeah.
There's still an hour and a half left in this movie.
And they have to make it interesting.
Yeah. And in through a window in his very first comic book role is Ryan Reynolds, who he's pretty good in this movie. I mean, he's playing Ryan Reynolds. Like, he's playing himself like he always does.
The funny thing about Ryan Reynolds is always Ryan Reynolds in every movie from the beginning to the end. But you know who was supposed to be in this movie other than Ryan Reynolds?
Who?
Colin Farrell.
I could see that.
It was supposed to be Colin Farrell and not Ryan Reynolds.
I could see him in this role doing that. Thank God you didn't, Colin.
Right. But then again, Colin went and did a terrible job as Bullseye in Daredevil, so I don't think he really dodged the bullet.
I contend he's having a time of his life in that movie. It was a terrible movie, but he was having fun.
Yeah. Such a bad movie, man. It's such a bad movie. I'm like, goodness gracious.
What gets me every time when he like puts on his coat or does anything with his coat, it makes the sound of a rattlesnake.
I don't know, when I watched that movie for the first time as a kid, I was like, oh, this movie's awesome. And then I watched it like again after I got older, and I was like, what the hell was I watching?
Yeah.
This is bad.
This is very bad.
But yeah, you were supposed to have Colin Farrell, which at the end of the day, as difficult as Wesley Snipes was being and other people, I don't think Colin Farrell would have made this movie any better. So I think you needed Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, because he was doing a lot of comedies at this point.
Yeah.
This was like a year or two before he did when he first played Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think he has said that the reason he took that role was so that he could get to where Deadpool is now. That was the only reason he did X-Men back then, because he didn't want anyone else to do it.
Yeah, I like Ryan Reynolds, man. I took Ryan Reynolds. I was talking about Chris Pratt today. We were talking about the Jurassic Park movies, and I was like, Chris Pratt and Ryan Reynolds are basically like the same person in a movie. Like, they won't give you great movies, but they at least entertain you enough to make it to the end of the movie.
I'd compare them like they're the white Sam Jackson,
Yeah. Like, I'm gonna make it like, if you're in it, I'm gonna watch it, and I may be like, man, that was a really good movie, or I may be like, yeah, that movie's all right, but at the end of the movie, I won't be like,
couldn't tell you his character's name.
Yeah.
In this movie, Ryan Reynolds playing Hannibal King because Parker Posey screams it all the time.
Yeah, King. It was one part in the movie before she started yelling it all the time. I was like, what is his name? And then she started yelling. I was like, oh, okay,
Hannibal King.
I was like, I got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also through that window comes Jessica Biel playing Hot Lady Number 1. That's pretty much all she is in this movie, is capable hot lady.
Yeah. And then Blade just puts it together. You Whistler daughter. I thought all his family was dead. How you put that together then, Blade?
You didn't put nothing together. All you heard was her last name was Whistler. Could
You
be
Whistler.
another family named Whistler.
You Whistler daughter. I thought his family was dead.
Whistler's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Ryan Reynolds screams it across the room. That's the only reason he put it. He's like, you know, Whistler. You could have done that, not like Whistler's daughter. No.
Which is it's so bad, you know. But at this point, when we're in here and they're going through this whole fight scene,
yeah.
At this point, you know, Blade couldn't fight humans at the dock, but now all of a sudden, Blade can fight humans.
Blade will tear through some humans to get out of a building.
But if you come to his dock, so you know, corner him, I'll go in quietly.
And Triple H comes around a corner looking like he's so huge, like he's got this tiny little machine gun in his hand, and he's so big, and it looks like a giant plane with like a toy or something. What are you doing? You're vampires. Why are you shooting?
Right. Use your vampire stuff.
Right. So they get Blade out, and he has a pretty cool looking walk down a hallway with his stuff on. He grabs his gear and whatnot after they shoot him up with the little inhaler that he's got now. And when they're escaping through the hallway, he jumps back through the ventilation shaft, and they don't see him, and they just leave. Like, I guess they're like, guess he didn't want to come. And
just a waste of a mission.
It's honestly a pretty good shot. Him jumping out the window and him landing. It's like pretty seamless between like what's obviously CGI, because a real man's not going to jump out of a window that high into a superhero landing. It's pretty great. So they go back to their little hideout, and that's where he's like Whistler's daughter, and she has to explain that she was a daughter from another marriage or just another woman. And again, Blade and Whistler, I feel like, have spent every day the last 20 or 30 years together. When did he go and find time to have another daughter?
And I will say this, you know, as bad as Blade Trinity was, up to at least this point here, I was at least entertained with the movie. When they finally met up and got everybody together at like this new compound, I was like, all right, now this movie's just getting bad.
I was like, why are we introducing all these people? They're obviously going to die.
Right.
That's the only reason we're spending time with any of them.
Yeah, and it was so like, and one of the people that like, yeah, we're the Night Stalkers. And one of the people in their group is a blind lady. Like, what is she doing?
And she runs the tech. Like, she's like the computer person.
They have a blind lady as their security person. Like, she's watching the security camera.
Like, there's a scene where she's pulling up files on a computer, and she's like, "Ah, yes, it's this."
I'm like, how do you know that?
I mean, I know there's specialized keyboards for blind people, but does it read it for you?
It's so bad.
I mean, not to make fun of blind people, but
no. I'm the only reason I'm laughing is because I was watching this, and the entire time while I'm watching it, I was confused, like if she was blind or not. The only time that I realized she was blind is when she finally was going down the steps and she had this stick. I was like, maybe she's just like the widows. Like she
thought it was another person wearing sunglasses at night.
Yeah, I was like,
everybody else in this movie.
Blade. I was like, Blade wears glasses at night. I was like, Reiner in the last movie wore sunglasses at night. I was like, this is another sunglass wearing. I was like, she can't be blind. She can't be blind. Sure enough, she was blind.
She's blind.
She fooled me the whole movie.
Yeah. And then we're introduced to Patton Oswalt, who doesn't last long in this movie.
Right.
Who he's like their Q. He's the Q to their James Bond.
Right.
And this is where we get the scene where Ryan Reynolds is staring down the camera explaining Dracula to us. Because Dracula, even in this movie, like he has like what I'll call a demon design towards the end, where like the last movie, like with those other vampires where their jaw opened up weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so the first vampire jaw. Look, y'all need to pick a thing. The guy that was the first vampire turns into this crazy demon version of himself, and
this is what happens when you have three directors for three different films in the same trilogy. You start to get like crazy storylines like this. Like honestly, the storyline we got with Blade was supposed to be even more wild, but they like 86 that entire plan. Like he wanted for this to take place decades after Blade 2, and the vampires have taken over, have achieved world domination, and Blade is the only savior.
Which sounds great. Like it's Mad Max with vampires.
That's what they were gonna do. That was his plan, but then they like shut that down completely.
Like honestly, they could. Like he's got the car already. That looks like the Interceptor almost, and just do Mad Max with vampires with Wesley Snipes as Blade. I mean, Whistler's dead. He's found somebody else. I don't know.
I mean, that might have worked out a little bit better. You don't have to worry about killing Whistler. You just got to explain what happened, which, of course, Blade may be able to give you your narrative. Or you got Ryan Reynolds that can start you off with your narrative like he did in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Ryan Reynolds says that, like, I think Wesley Snipes absolutely hates Ryan Reynolds.
He was calling him racial slurs throughout the set.
Yeah.
And Wesley Snipes denies it.
They
said Wesley Snipes wouldn't, like, how he'll write notes to everybody. He wouldn't talk to anybody, but he would write notes. The only person he would talk to was Ryan Reynolds. And the only thing he kept saying to Ryan Reynolds was, what did he say? Keep quiet if you want to stay alive. He kept saying that to
him. Like, Wesley Snipes, like, it shows in the interviews for this movie, too. Wesley Snipes did not drop character until after he did, like, interviews for, like, the DVD. Like, there's footage of him out there doing, like, what is, I'm assuming is, like, an interview for, like, the DVD or whatever. He's doing them as Blade. Like, he's in costume. He's got the sunglasses on. He's Blade.
That is hilarious.
Just like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
That is hilarious, man.
DVD commentary.
Like, when you think about it, man, like, just to be a part of that, like, yeah, it probably is frustrating as an actor, or actress, or director trying to put it together. But when you look back on that, like, years later, you like, yo, like, we really put that together and, like, got it done. Like, at that point,
I sent you that interview with Patton Oswalt and Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
And I'll probably put it somewhere in here. And Patton Oswalt's talking like it's a D. This should be an F. Like, this movie is like should be an F, but for the amount of work we had to do to get it out the door, it's a D plus.
Yeah,
it's like it's amazing. Like, this movie even exists.
It's great. This movie is great. So, which I agree.
Yeah. Oh, also, what are those sleeves that she has?
I was wondering that, and I didn't really want to bring that up because there were so many other bad things that's happening. But I was like, bro, what do the sleeves do? Do they give you like better restriction, or like take away that?
Yeah, like when they're breaking, we're going back to when they break out Blade at the FBI building, and she pulls out a bow and arrow because she can shoot through corners. Okay,
yeah,
and she's got this like leather jacket thing on. She just like unzips it, and I was like, well, why didn't you just go sleeveless? Why do you need the coat?
And then she never zips it back up.
I've never seen, because it looks like a weird little cape when she's running. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't get it.
So Blade decides to join up with the Night Stalkers to hunt Dracula. And that's what they do the next day. They go around and, she's listening to MP3s, don't you know?
Yeah.
It's this new thing that we've got. It's called iTunes and MP3s.
Yeah, she probably got everything off of LimeWire at that
time. Apple paid a lot of money. Like, every computer in this movie is like a old Mac or like an iPod, or like it must have been when the iPod first came out, because it's like they made a big deal like, she's putting MP3s on this thing.
the next series of events, like it didn't dawn upon me until they get to the doctor's office.
Yeah.
But I was like, so they're out and about just beating up like random people. Not random people, but familiars trying to figure out who knows what. And then they get to the like doctor's office and start beating up people in there in the lobby. And I'm like, wait, did the FBI just give up looking for Blade? Like he's a fugitive.
Because they sure don't show up until the end.
Like, he is a fugitive now. Like he just walking out in public.
They're in broad daylight again. They're walking in the middle of the street. Blade's in a black trench coat. They're both in like bulletproof vests. She's got like a quiver on her back. She's carrying a bow and arrow, and they just walk into this building like it's okay.
I'm like, y'all, for one, they was like Blade was public enemy number one. So I was like, y'all forgot about the mass killer, the serial killer that shot a man in the middle of the street. Like, okay, sure.
And the guy that plays, I don't know why this even matters, but the guy that plays Blade is the brother from Prison Break. Who?
Oh, you talking about Drake?
Yeah, not the one with the tattoo on his chest in Prison Break.
Yeah, I wrote his name down here. Dominic Purcell.
Yeah, he played Heatwave in the Flash series, I think.
Yeah, I just think he's one of those guys. You look at him and be like, yeah, he's been in one of those shows.
He's from one of those things.
Yeah, you could point him out.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about his name.
Because he has killed our psychiatrist from the beginning of the movie and assumed his form, because that's one of the things that Dracula can do is change into people. Which makes no sense later on, but we'll get to it. And then what's the most hilarious shot in this movie is they walk into the office and they figure out it's Dracula and they take a shot at him. The bullet is like 10 feet from his head. He still does a little side thing. I'm like, that bullet, like, if it hit you, it probably wouldn't do anything. Yeah. And it's 10 feet away from you, bro. And all it was to like just do like a little quick change thing from the face he had on to his human face, I guess.
And then we go through what I like to think is one of the most ridiculous scenes in the entire movie.
So dumb.
I was like, what are we doing?
It's just a foot chase across rooftops with Blade and Dracula. And
look how high I can jump.
Yeah.
Look what I can do. Look what I can do. That's how they do it. That's what I felt like I was watching. I was like, what's the point of this? Like, look what I can do. Look what I can do.
Is that weird character from Mad TV? I can't think of his name. Was it Stevie?
If you wouldn't have said that, I don't think it's Stevie. It's it's Stewie. I think it's Stewie. Okay. Stewart is his name.
But Dracula steals a baby because, of course, he does. We get it. He's evil.
The baby, I think this is the thing, man. And I don't have anything against interracial or adoption, but he steals the baby from a black lady, and the baby's white.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess adoption is real out there, but I was like, all right.
Well, I've heard newborn black babies are kind of white, so.
Yeah, not that white.
Never seen a black newborn baby, so I couldn't tell. Just heard they're a little white. That's all I'm saying.
Nah, that baby, that was a white baby.
That's a white baby. So of course, he tosses the baby doesn't die because you can't kill a baby on screen. Like, you just can't.
And because Blade did a backflip to catch the baby. Yeah. If he did not do that backflip, he would never caught it.
Even this movie knows you can't kill a baby on screen.
That's hilarious.
So after that, is this when Dracula finds where they're all hiding out or anything?
I
think so because
Blade and Whistler's daughter go off. I forget what they're off doing, but while they're off doing their thing, you got everybody else at the compound doing their thing.
They're off. They went into somehow they found out where this the vampires have a blood farm. Yeah. Blood bank. And it turns out the chief of police is in on it because of course he is. and he just keeps like shooting people and saying, "What's behind the door?" Just fucking go open it.
Yeah.
He's like,
now, granted, that scene probably had one of the most hilarious Wesley Snipes moments, where it's
"Motherfucker,
like
I'll kill you."
he said, "What they got back there? I can't tell you. They gonna kill me. Kill you, motherfucker! I'll kill you." I was like, "Well, he does have a point there." What he?
The fuck do you think I'm gonna do?
I was like, he has a very valid point. That is a good point, Blake.
It kind of was like a callback to in the first movie when that cop shooting at him in the hospital. He's like, "Motherfucker, are you out of your mind?"
Yeah. I felt like we finally got a glimpse of like the true Wesley Snipes once again, and then we went back to mental breakdown.
Wesley Snipes has said that to a few people in his life.
Yeah.
So yeah, behind the barn, in the barn is a big old blood bank, which makes sense if you're a vampire, because you at some point, if you try to turn everybody, you're gonna run out of food. Drake finds out where everyone's at while they're off in the woods trying to shut down this blood bank, and he goes in there as Whistler.
Like he knew who that was.
Exactly. He had no reference for who that was. He never met Whistler. But he just takes the form of Whistler. And when I saw that shot, I was like, he has no reference for that.
Maybe they had a picture.
Maybe. I don't know. But there's
But then again, this is the thing. Him going in there as a Whistler, like what good does that do?
Yeah.
It's not like he fooled anybody. Like the first person he sees in there is Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds is like, yo, you dead. And
he doesn't even kill Ryan Reynolds. He just takes him.
Like if he would have went in there, and we'll get to that later in a minute. But yeah. Then when he goes in there, like he could have went in there as Jessica Biel's character,
right?
He could have went in there as Blade. He could have gone in there as anybody.
More creative with that scene, like that's because we don't even see what he does. We just see the aftermath.
Yeah, I just go in here. I killed everybody.
Right. Like he for some reason he just like strings the blind lady up. Like, all right, let's calm down.
Yeah.
And so he takes the blind lady has a daughter. We forgot to mention it, but she has a daughter.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, she's just in there to just add tension at the end with Blade.
Yeah, so, I don't remember too much of it at the end. So
no, she just has one conversation with Blade. It's like, why do you take that stuff? And he's like, there's something bad inside of me, and it's not nice or whatever.
And, it's that scene is so funny because they built the music up and zoomed in on Blade after, like she said, well, why don't you just not stop doing bad stuff? Yeah. And then you zoom in on Blade with the music. He said, because there's bad people in the world.
Because the world isn't nice.
And I'm like, come on, Blake. Well, not even Blake. What's up with this movie? What is up with this movie?
Like, they're just trying to get to the finish line at this point.
What am I watching?
I think you're watching a breakdown of a lot of people. So, of course, the vampires have taken everybody and they've killed everyone else. And we have our big showdown. I mean, the end of this movie is just... You can see where we're going. Blade and Jessica Biel. They get new motorcycles. For some reason, this group of people has motorcycles and all. I don't know where they're getting their money. Because even Blade's like, how you bankroll this? And no one has an answer.
which is weird because this always kills me, right? In movies like this where somebody gets kidnapped or like, people came in somewhere, slaughtered everybody and like took your family and we're going to hold them hostage. Mm-hmm. At some point in the movie, like, you go to like them holding them hostage and then you go back to the main characters and they're still probably either at the compound or the apartment and they're just sitting there. Like, they've you don't know where Ryan Reynolds is. You don't know where the little girl is. He's come in here, at least killed 3 people. So it's like, yeah, let me practice shooting my arrow right quick.
Yeah, she spends like who knows how long trying to get the I don't know how bows work, so I guess she was trying to improve the tension on it or something. And she's trying to get it up to like, what did she get it up to? Like 300 feet per second or something? I don't know what her goal is. Like, I'm assuming that was supposed to be like some kind of archery scene that other people would know what she's doing.
Oh
I
my
don't.
god! Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
Also, use a gun. Why are you using a bow and arrow? What are we doing?
You know, she actually did practice and train for that, and she's actually pretty good at archery at this point.
Yeah, I would. She probably thought that she was going to be in a good movie too. That's why she put all that work in. She was like, "This is going to be huge for my career."
Yo, this is so crazy. Everybody put in so much work. Ryan Reynolds put on like 25 pounds of like body muscle. He took karate classes.
Ryan Reynolds has not always been ripped, people.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
When he did comedy in the early 2000s, like he wasn't like ripped like he is now. Like he was still a good looking dude, but he's not.
I was surprised that after this movie, like some of them went on to have like a longer career. Because usually after you see actors in movies like this, you're like, yeah, he done, she done. Yeah. But they actually went off. Ryan Reynolds went out to become Deadpool, and Jessica Biel went off to do her things and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, cool, you guys made it out.
Ryan Reynolds went on to like, it took him a couple years, but he made it into some hits. Like he's like producing his own stuff now and choosing his directors and working with The Rock and
what Blade Trinity would do to you.
Yeah, and Wesley Snipes is doing VOD releases to this day.
I guess what they say, man. You know what? Don't kill you, make you stronger.
But I think he had tax problems after this, so who knows?
Oh yeah. I think didn't he go to jail?
Yeah, he went to jail for a couple years, I think.
And then he came out of jail and was in like the Expendables 3.
Yeah.
which is another horrible movie.
I have not seen any of those movies.
Let me tell you, don't.
Yeah, I like Jason Statham, but not enough to watch those movies.
If you wanted to watch any of them, watch the first one and just stop there.
Okay.
Don't watch anything after that.
The other 2 or 3 don't exist.
Yeah. Because it gets to the point, like if you ever watch a movie, you know how they say like Michael Bay, like all Michael Bay want to do is like blow up stuff. Like I felt like that's all they want to do in Expendables. It was like Expendables 2 was like, hey, how more drastic can we get, or how more elaborate can we get in like making this non-believable? Right. And then by the time Expendables 3 came out, you got people out here with like, you have, let's say, me and you on a team of like 12 people, and we're fighting a team of like 40 people, and those 40 people have machine guns and they like shooting at us and not letting off the gas, and like I just get up and just walk across the room like this and nothing hits me. Like that's the type of stuff that happens in Expendables 3. But when I pull my gun out, I hit everybody.
Right. So, I know Harrison Ford shows up at some point in those movies.
Yeah, like I said, that's when it got to the point of like how more silly could we get? Because that's why Bruce Willis makes it in the second one, and then Bruce Willis ends up in the third one, and then that's where you get Wesley Snipes in the third one. It's like, how many action stars can we put in one movie?
Yeah,
and yeah, unless you want to like really waste your time with it, like I would say watch it, but I would advise you not to if you don't want to.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Blade comes to an end with, you can imagine, long fight through. We don't get the scene, at least in this movie. We don't get a scene of them trying to take Blade's blood and drain him in some kind of elaborate contraption this time.
Yeah.
So there's that. He has and I will say about the fights in this movie. I like them a little better because the camera's locked down and it's like a wide shot of just like in the John Wick movies where everything's like the camera's in place and it's like a wide shot and you just let the actors go.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah. And Wesley Snipes, as I wouldn't even say he's bad as Blade. Is just like not the best actor, but highly trained in martial arts or whatever. He's good at it. He knows what he's doing.
He's kind of like that. What's that one guy's name? I forget his name all the time.
Michael John White.
Michael John White. He's very good in martial arts, but he's not the best. Not the best.
Not always in the best movies.
Yeah.
He was the mob boss in The Dark Knight that the Joker threatened.
Yeah.
Well, Joker threatened a lot of people in that movie. But
R.I.P. Heath Ledger. I love that movie.
Also, if you haven't seen The Batman yet, go see it.
I have not. I've heard it is nothing but 2 to 3 hours of Batman just beating people up.
Mm-hmm. He's actually a detective, and he's beating the hell out of people, so it's great. Best Batmobile I've ever seen.
They say it's going to be on HBO Max soon, so
on April 17th, I think, is what they said.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm not in a rush to go see it if it's going to come to HBO Max that fast.
I saw it last Friday. It was great. But
we're coming to the end of Blade.
Blade, at the end of Dracula's fight, Blade and Dracula's fight, he stabs. They try to shoot. Like they've developed this little virus thing that if it interacts with Dracula's blood, it's going to get into the air and infect all the vampires and kill them all. And even Ryan Reynolds asked Blade, like, "What are you going to do if we kill all the vampires? Like, what will you do with yourself?" You know, which is a good question. It's like, this is all he does.
Become a movie director.
But they eventually distract Dracula long enough to get this. The first arrow they shoot, they shoot the virus at him, but he catches it because he can sense it. And then he just throws it to the side. He doesn't bust it up or anything. Shoots him with another arrow, and then they stick him in the side, and the virus goes out, kills all the vampires. Blade drives off in the end.
Let me tell you this. And this is the funny part about watching Blade Trinity. So in the beginning, which we kind of... Ryan Reynolds' character is Hannibal King, right?
Yeah.
Hannibal King used to be a vampire. But...
That's right.
I forgot. They gave Hannibal King the cure, and now Hannibal King is no longer a vampire. He is a human fighting vampires.
So there is a cure for vampires.
Which brought me to the conclusion of, why don't y'all just cure the vampires?
Send out this thing in like a huge virus. Like, just send it out like they spray for mosquitoes or whatever.
So y'all just want to kill vampires? Like, why don't y'all just heal them? Like,
no, they wanted to kill him. Blade wanted to kill them all. He don't care.
Which I was like, at that point, I was like, you know what? Last movie, I was like, Blade is the black Batman. Now, with this movie, I was like, Blade, genocide is cool, as long as it's vampires.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool for us to kill an entire race of species.
Right.
Yeah. Good job, Blade.
So...
And then at the end of the movie, they say Blade's off doing his thing, which nobody knows what that is.
Who cares? Yeah. And there was even like a worry that it was going to kill him because he still has the vampire virus, they call it, inside of him.
And now Blade is the only vampire. You know, Blade and Jessica Biel was supposed to have a set scene in this movie.
I can kind of see where they were trying to set that up, like when she's grieving at the death of the blind lady. I don't even know if they got the girl out.
And he kept saying, "Do it." Do what?
Yeah. Use it, or is like use it or something. I don't know.
I never understood what he was trying to tell her.
I think he was trying to. I think he was saying use it, like use the pain of their death as like whatever.
Oh, well, that made sense.
They were trying to be like fancy. How would you rate it?
Blade Trinity. I'll rate it too long.
It's just too long. It's 2 hours too long.
You know what? The funny thing about it is, this is actually the shortest Blade film out of all of the three, but it feels like the longest.
It does.
You're like, goodness gracious! Like at an hour in, I was like, how much more time I got, man?
Yeah, I kept looking at I was just like watching stuff on YouTube on my phone, like during the final battle of this movie. I was like, okay, they got him.
I was like, yeah, man, somebody stop this, man. I was like, I'm not happy Preston made me watch this one, but yeah, man. But I mean, it was definitely something. Well, go ahead.
Go watch Moon Knight. You know,
I heard that is pretty good.
First episode at time of recording came out yesterday. When this comes out, the day this comes out, the second episode will be up. So it's much better than this. And also, at the end of at Halloween, we will get our first appearance of MCU Blade in Werewolf by Night, and as a Disney Plus Halloween special. So look forward to that.
Did you know that Blade Trinity has a post-credit scenes?
I did not.
They said this is like one of the first Marvel movies that have post-credit scenes.
Okay.
So I don't know what you'll get. I don't think you'll get any more out of the movie, but this movie has post-credit scenes, which I was like, all right, I got to go back and watch that because we weren't doing that until like what, freaking 2000 and whenever the Avengers and stuff came out.
Well, I remember the very first post-credit scene wasn't even from Marvel. It was like the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie had like a post-credit scene. That was the first time I ever heard of something like that.
So this is Disney inspired, not Marvel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love Disney. Disney is the Illuminati.
And also, cast Wesley Snipes as Whistler in the Blade movie. Just do it.
They were going to cast Wesley Snipes as Blade again.
Yeah.
But then, of course, Ali walks in and says, I want to do it.
I want to do it. And I've got an Oscar. So.
And they was like, all right, bet.
And Will Smith hasn't slapped me yet. I don't think Will Smith would slap Mahershala Ali. I wouldn't slap Mahershala Ali.
I think Will Smith could get away with slapping Wesley Snipes. I don't think he's got... Wesley Snipes was kind of sick right now, which I'm kind of concerned.
Like cancer sick or...
Yeah, like he's lost a lot of weight.
Oh, wow.
Bald head, skinny guy. So, kind of concerned about him. But,
Well, I give his last turn as Blade as in honor of Blade Trinity, I give it a 3.
Yeah. You give it a 3 and I gave it a 2 for too long. That's
too long.
2 for too long. But hey man. Hey, if you want a movie to just watch and tear apart, then check out Blade.
Yeah.
We probably would have gotten a better movie if Hellboy did not get the green light because Del Toro was supposed to direct this movie.
He went just like it, or at least just delay Hellboy a year,
Yeah, but they were like, Hellboy's good to go. He's like, all right, bye, y'all.
Bye. Wesley Snipes is losing it.
And then Hellboy came out, and Hellboy wasn't a bad movie.
Great.
So
it's great.
I think if he would have just directed Blade Trinity, we would have finished the series off. But at the same time, this is what would have happened. I'm gonna tell you what would have happened because they were trying to play off so many spinoffs.
Mm-hmm. I think there was a Night Stalker spinoff that was gonna be like Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel.
There was gonna be Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel playing a Night Stalker spinoff, and then there was going to be a Blade prelude story.
Okay.
With just like more Deacon Frost.
I would have loved more Deacon Frost.
So yeah, that's what you were gonna get. You're gonna get Deacon Frost prelude, and you were gonna get Night Stalker spinoff. So
all right, what could have been?
There you go.
That was Blade Trinity. Thank God we don't have to watch it again. Didn't like it.
Yeah. Hopefully the next film you ask me to watch, man, is a little bit more entertaining.
I got a Google Doc I have to share with you that I wrote out at the beginning of the year. It's like 40 or 50 items, but
yeah, whenever you were down to watch the Tear the Expendables 3 apart.
Maybe. Well, I have to see. If you've made it this far into the episode, thanks. Since you've made it this far, why don't you leave a review on the app you're listening to it on? You can do it on Spotify now. You can click a little star. Larry, thanks for coming again.
Always, bro. Always a pleasure.
We'll have to find another reason to bring you back for something.
You give me an excuse to watch movies, man.
There you go.
I'll never complain.
Well, next week I haven't decided yet, but until then, I'll say goodbye and thanks for listening.